Getting those percentile, which is 99.25, that journey of getting into these higher percentile requires some heroes.
Hello everyone, this is GP here, and today Jijo and I will be discussing what is a good score for CAT. More importantly, most students talk about percentile. Should you be looking at percentiles? And secondly, to get a decent percentile or to get a given percentile, what is the kind of marks or score that you need? Okay, so that's a broad agenda for the day. Okay, before we start, let me try and address the first question which everyone asked me. Should I focus on percentiles? Should I focus on marks? Or should I focus on number of questions? To my mind, end of the day, the only thing you need to focus on is the number of questions, for the simple reason that percentiles are not within your control. A percentile, end of the day, is a rank. Okay, a percentile denotes 95 percentile tells me how many that I'm among the top 5% or 95% of the population is below me. Okay, but that is a function of how you have attempted the paper and how the others have attempted the paper. So when you're looking at percentile, the only thing you get is a rank. It does not tell you how much you need to improve to get to the next level. The right approach always is going to be to look at marks or to look at the number of questions. Okay, and to me, the primary source is number of questions. If you can say, okay, these are the number of questions I did in the paper, I could have attempted 2 more questions, 3 more questions. You know where to improve. Okay, so the percentile does give the situation at that point of time. Marks or score on number of questions, they give you also the way forward as to what is it that you need to do to move to the next level. Okay, yeah, Jijo, your views on this specific issue?
Absolutely. The idea of percentile movement is a little complicated and not that simple as we think. So it is better to focus on the question. So one of the things that we thought is actually pick out data and use data from CAT 2020 to help you understand what could be a plan of action at whatever percentile that you're in or whatever score that you're in. So what I'll first do is I will share an analysis and I will ask GP to give his perspective during this analysis. And what we have done is to look at the scale score versus the percentile rank of CAT 2020. So the data that we picked up are from students last year who after once they have got their scorecard, we collected the data and this is a simple presentation that we're doing. And whatever the score that is given here is a scale score. So there are multiple slots. There were 3 slots. So eventually there is that one score, which is a calculation is done to identify the scale score. So the first thing that we look at is overall CAT 2020. And here, GP, I'll make my understanding of this, and then I'll ask you in terms of what you think about this. So let me first tell you what this graph is. This is, first of all, overall score versus percentile. So on the y-axis, you've got a score. You see the score going from -25 to here. The scale is going to 175. Now, mind you, the total number of questions was 76. Therefore, total number of marks were 228. That means that nobody got that marks 228. That's a maximum mark, as we understand. That's there. And on the y-axis, what you see is the percentile rank. It goes from the 0 percentile here all the way to the top percentile. So one thing that I want the students to understand is that let's assume that somebody is at the 50th percentile. Now that's a position that you are in, right? And I am having this simple idea. GB, you tell me whether this is a fair enough assessment or journey that somebody can take. Is that in every section, can I improve 2 questions? Can I get 2 more questions correct per section?
Right.
That I think is realistic, right? I'm sure that is something that's
always doable. Unless you are at the 99.99 percentile level, then it's a little difficult. But yes, at 50 percentile, I don't think that should be an issue.
So if you're looking at improving 2 questions per section, overall we are looking at improvement about 6 questions, 6 to 7 questions, and probably something close to 18 marks. So if I look at that marks, when it comes to here. 18 marks will be, this is, each of them is 10 marks. So let's look at a jump which is from here to here in score. What that means is that your percentile is now moved to 75.
Uh,
So by adding just by
Jijo,
adding, yeah,
what was the marks at 50 percentile? Can you just highlight that?
the marks
That's
at
about
50
25.
percentile,
It's
25 marks.
25 marks. Yeah.
Uh,
So you're saying I from 25 marks to 35 marks if you move
45, I'm saying about 45
45,
marks.
like
So
45 marks.
that is about a jump of 20 marks, which translate into about 7 questions, 6 to 7 questions. And
Yeah.
this is, there are 3 sections. So we're
Mhm.
looking at 2 questions per section improvement.
Right.
Then the jump is, if you actually look at the jump, it straight away goes to 75 percentile. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
one important thing that people have to understand is that this jump of
Mhm.
25 percentile jump from here to
Mhm.
here is a question of getting 6 to 7 questions correct.
And Jijo,
S-
there's something very, very interesting out here also.
Hmm,
25, 50 percentile is at 25 marks.
hmm,
25 marks is 8 or maybe 9 questions. So from 9 questions, you're saying, can I go to 16 questions? Okay, right? 16
Correct.
questions is about 5 to 6 questions per section, which means you have ample time to do whatever you want. In DILR, it means, can I do one set correctly? In Quant, it is about 6 to 7 questions, which means you have about 5 to 6 minutes per question. In verbal, you are saying if you do 2 passages comfortably, you can reach this level. Is this fine, Jijo?
Yeah, that is fine. That is
Mhm.
basically what that is. And also people see a lot of fluctuation in
Mhm.
their mock scores from here to here. So
Right.
that people say there's too much of fluctuation. There is not too much of fluctuation. There is a slight movement in score, but that
Mm, mm, mm,
fluctuation of score remains high. So from here, let's say somebody reached that particular stage and using the same logic. From there, can I add some more marks? Is that, can I add another jump in the same logic at 2 questions per section? Then I see that I'm immediately going to, from the 70th percentile, I move to the 90th percentile straight. And that's
Right.
again the same logic of, can I look at 2 questions more per section? And at that point, if I have to reach, let's say, the 95th percentile from there, then from 90th percentile, if I want to move to 95th percentile, that is adding 1 question per section. That's the 1 question per section. If I can add from there to there, 1 question per section, then I reach the position where I can actually say that I've reached the 95th percentile.
Yeah.
So while, to me, GP, while this journey looks humongous, but if you
Mm,
break into small step of one more RC I'll do. I'll
mhm.
probably do VA. I'll make lesser mistakes. I'll do one sets completely. I'll do certain concept of math. And slowly, if I start moving, you can actually see this is, you can reach 95th percentile. That's my take, GP. What is your take
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. Jijo, I'll start from the other end.
Hmm.
Most of the time, we find students saying 95 percentile is very high. That it's something huge that they need to accomplish. Now, what does this graph tells me? 95 percentile is 75 marks. 75 marks is 25 questions. In a paper which has 76 questions, you're talking about 25 questions, 33%. In school, college, that is compartment. You have not even cleared, or you have just been given grace marks to clear. So that is what is required for 95 percentile. 8 to 9 questions per section, 25 questions, 75 marks means 8 questions or 9 questions in one section, and you will be there. So first thing which I want people to understand is, if I, while Jijo started from 50th and said, how do you progress? I'm saying, look at the end point. End point is not a very big number. Why are students not able to achieve that number then? Because when they're attempting the paper, they are trying to say, I want 95% marks. They are not looking at percentile. They say percentile, but mentally somewhere it is ingrained, it is percentage. So they need to get rid of that percentage percentile dichotomy, and which is why I said just focus on the number of questions that you need to get right. So it is 8 to 9. Okay. Now let's go back to Jijo, what you started off with. 50 percentile to 70 percentile, 2 questions per section. 70 percentile to 90 percentile, 2 more questions per section, and similarly 1 plus. So this is a very easy journey to look at. Okay, and if you look at the graph also, the slope actually shoots up after 95 percentile. Now to me, 90 and 95 percentiles are very, very important numbers. The reason is very simple. One, these are achievable numbers. 90 percentile, if I understand correctly, Jijo, in this particular graph, it is 65 marks approximately, which
Correct.
means about 22 questions, about 7
Correct.
questions per section. So from a 7 questions per section to, if you go to 8 questions per section, you move from 90 to 95 percentile. Now, by no stretch of imagination, 7 or 8 questions per section are difficult to achieve. But what does that mean? If you're a general category candidate with academic or a gender diversity or both, at 95 percentile, you have a possibility of getting an interview call from Kozhikode, Indore, Shillong, Ahmedabad. That is what it means. Okay. And if you happen to be a girl with arts background, you'll probably get it at 87, 88 percentile also. But as a general category candidate, I'll say 95 percentile is what you're looking at to begin with. If you're an engineer, yes, you need higher. But if you're a non-engineer or you have a kind of gender diversity, you can 95 percentile is good enough to get umpteen number of interview calls from the IIMs. All new IIMs will happen or have a very good chance of happening. Okay, that is the first thing. If you happen to be a reserve category candidate, which means you happen to be either EWS candidate, SC, SG, OBC, PWD, then 90 percentile will give you most of the calls which you need. So once you cross that barrier of 90 percentile for the reserve category candidate and a 95 percentile for a general category candidate, many opportunities open up for you in the IIMs. And which is why these numbers have to be looked at very carefully. And as I said, these are not big numbers. We are talking about 8, maybe 9 questions on the higher side in each section for a 95 percentile, 7, maximum 8 questions in each section for a 90 percentile in each section. Okay, so that is where we are. Okay.
Right. So that is exactly the real fight is happening here.
Yeah.
This journey is a real fight. I've already put that number here because it's very difficult to understand. From 78, then it moved to 80, then 86, 91, 101, 111, then goes 130, 130, and 158. That is just a small jump in percentiles as you go higher. So the real fight is actually happening here. So that is another journey. How do I move from here to here? The different journey. But I think that you have established that reaching this particular position is a journey, which means consistently focusing on improving the skill set that is needed to get a couple of more marks in each section, and do that till the point that you get there, and don't give up at any point in time. Whichever percentile that you're in, if you're, let's say, if you're at 25th percentile, I'm going even further, and then again your journey starts from saying, okay, let me start picking up two questions more per section. Then let me do 2 more questions per section, 2 more pick up, and then keep the journey and reach there. And once you reach here, then that's a different story. Yeah.
And Jijo, what this means is, don't worry about speed till you are at 95 percentile. You need to worry about accuracy. You need to just make sure that whatever you do it right. You worry about speed when you have to go to a 99 to 99.5 percentile. You don't worry about speed before that. And Jijo, if you could just share the graph for the 3 individual sections at the 90-95 percentile level.
So I have put this table here. Okay, switch.
Great. So if you look at the 90 percentile and 95 percentile for 95 percentile for each of the 3 sections. Look at verbal 33, which is 11 questions. Okay, and then DILR is about 8 questions, 2 sets of data. Okay. If you want to be liberal, you'll say 9 questions and 10 questions. Okay. So roughly between the 3 sections, you're talking about 10, 11, and 8, 29. Let's say 30 questions.
Correct.
Okay. If you get 30 questions, means 90 marks is what you get, or 87 marks if you want to look at 29. Where would you be, Jijo, if you have 90 marks in CAT?
So if I add these 3 together, you will have about 87, 18, 90. And then when I look at the overall score, that pushes somewhere in this particular range. I'll be between 97, 98 percentile.
Absolutely. So 95 percentile in each of the 3 sections gives you a 97.5 percentile overall. Okay. So that's the second learning which I want everyone to remember. And where is 90 percentile, 95 percentile in each of these sections? 11 questions for verbal, 8 questions or 2 sets of data for DILR, and 10 questions in quant. This is your 95 percentile in each section. 10 questions in DILR means you have 3 to 4 minutes per. 10 minutes question in quant means you have 3 to 4 minutes per question. 2 sets of data in DILR means you have 15 to 20 minutes per set. Pick up a set which you think is doable, give it all the time you have. You will get to 95 percentile. Verbal, 11 questions. What does that mean? 3 RC passages. Maybe a couple of questions of verbal, or 2 passages and a few verbal questions. So my point is, where is the issue of speed? Why are you rushing through the paper? Why are you not focusing on accuracy? Why are you not doing what you know rather than trying to do everything? Get to this 90 or 95 percentile level depending upon your category first, and then you look at speed. Till then, the only thing has to be pick up a question which you know, solve it, mark an answer, move on. That's all you need to do. Don't rush, don't speed up.
Now once we establish that, when you look at what is that I need to do to jump this far, so that is why I think that it was important to go section by section.
Yes.
And starting with VARC. So there's a graph within VRC, again the same thing, percentile rank on your x-axis and the score on your y-axis, and each of these jump is now 5 marks. That's about two questions. That's
1 to 2 questions. And one thing I'm sure students will notice, the slope is very similar in all the 3 sections and the overall till about 90-95 percentile. There's minor variation depending on the section, but look at it, it's a very gradual slope, and after 95 it certainly shoots up. That's for verbal. I'm sure if you look at the other 2 sections, going to be similar.
Same.
Okay. Yeah. In fact, DILR, it is a much more steeper curve after 95.
Correct. And QA, the story is same.
Yeah. Okay. So which again repeats what you said, Jijo. There's a different challenge till 95 percentile, and 95 and beyond in each section is a different challenge.
Correct. So even if I look at here, whatever the score that you're in, and we are looking at currently, let's, I don't know why I'm starting with 50 percentile GP, but I'm just starting with 50 percentile as an idea, which is currently I can see something like what, 11, 12. 12. This is four questions. 4 questions in 40 minutes. That's what people are doing.
One passage.
And if I move from here to here, which is a jump of what? Roughly about 8 marks, which is what? 3 questions?
2 to 3 questions, yeah.
If I add 3 more questions, then I jump again to the 75th percentile. And if I add in the similar story, another question, we jump there. So the story of jumping these percentile is a matter of putting some simple things and ensuring that you get things right. So the journey from here till this journey, it's a different journey. So which means you have here 95th percentile, and which is 11 questions GP. Yeah. If I take the 99th percentile GP, that is 42. That'll be how much? 14 questions.
Yeah.
And if I want to hit something like a 99.9 percentile, then that's a question of 17 questions.
Yeah.
And then if you want to be the topper, then that is a matter of 20 questions. Here, the moment also, if you actually think about this, from 11, if I add another 3 more questions from 95, I go to 99.
99.
Then another 3 more question if I add, that I'll go to 99.9. Another 3 more question I add, I go to 99.99. So this is a different ball game, different journey, which means somebody is almost looking at attempting 18 odd questions if you want to get to these levels, which then means what I gather, GP, is that they will need to have a skill set of looking at passages, picking up the right decisions, be a better test taker, and not leave anything out, not look at paragraph jumble and say that I'm not going to study this.
Yeah. So that not only that, these people will have clarity of thought, and they will know what question am I going to attempt or not attempt, because otherwise they will end up wasting time. And if you waste time, you will not get this kind of a score. So for these students, most probably time wastage is going to be negligible or 0. What do I mean by time wastage? I read the passage, I go to the question, I am confused between the question choices. Either he or she will leave it or mark an answer and move on without bothering to go back to the passage. Because the maximum amount of time wastage in RC happens when you are shuffling between the question and the passage. You go back and forth, you don't get anything extra, you only end up wasting time. Similarly, in DILR, they will have that clarity of thought. They will pick up a data set, do the easy questions, move on to leave the difficult ones, move on. And similarly for the third section called quant.
Yeah. So if I do the same story in DLR, I'll do the same. You can still do the same logic here with 50 to 70, 75, and that's the same logic. But here, when we look at 95th percentile, that's roughly, let's take 8 questions, or let's say,
can I take questions?
let's
You can
say
take
9
8 or
questions.
9 questions.
Huh.
Yeah, it is 2 sets of data, either 4 plus 4 or 4 plus 6, does not really matter.
And then when you're hitting the 99th percentile, that is the 34, which will be roughly 11, 12 questions.
12 questions, yeah. If you're taking 9, take it 12. And if you're
So let's
taking 8, you can take it 11.
So let's take it 12 then.
Ah.
And if I want to hit something like a 99.9, that is 46. That will be how many?
15
That will
questions.
be
15 questions.
15 questions.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
Jijo, just to paraphrase what you said, 95 to 99 percentile 3 questions. You jump 4 percentile points with the 3 questions. But 99 to 99.9 percentile increase needs another 3 questions. So the number of attempts or the number increase is the same, but the jump is much more steeper, much more slower after that, and that is what the graph is also showing. Okay.
so here, what happens is that I'm sure that this 9 would be what? Maybe 2.5 sets, maybe 3 sets. That's what I'm thinking, GP.
2 sets.
This will be a
you pick up 1 set of 4 and 1 of 6 or 2 of 6. You will get 8 to 9 questions correct. You will be there.
So last year there were 5 sets with 2 sets with 6 questions and 3 sets with 4 questions. That's what happened last year.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So this is about 2 set story.
Yeah, it's a 2 set story. See, the simple rule is 95 percentile is a 2 set story. 99 percentile is a 3 set story. Is it either 6-6? If you are very good, you'll do only 2 6 questions, 6 into 2, and get all of them right. You'll get a 99. Most probably you'll do a 6-4-4. So to me, correct. 95 is 2 sets, 99 is 3 sets, 99.5 and above is 4 sets.
I think that these set of people also behave slightly differently in terms of they are the ones who hunt questions from each. Very similar to how I'm thinking how they do VRC. They are not the one who says that if I read a passage, I should solve all the questions.
Yes,
I would want to move on. If I pick up a DI set, I will think of the DI set, pick up the question and move on to the next one. And of course, they are the ones who have developed the skill set to do all type of questions in DILR.
Yeah.
So, but at least to get to the 95th percentile, you have to ensure that I should be able to any sort of scenario I'll be able to handle 3 sets comfortably. Then I'm here. On a good day, I will be a 99th percentile. On a bad day, I'll be 95th percentile. So that's where.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's So if I look at the story with respect to QAGP, so again the 95th percentile story is let me count the 10 question here.
10 questions. 10 questions. 10 questions.
And if I get to the 99th percentile story, that is 45. That is about 15 questions.
Yeah.
And if I get a 99.9 story, that's about 20 questions. Slightly different behavior. So I think that it is quite natural when it comes to something like a DILR or VRC, because to get the next set of question, I have to crack the DILR set. Then I'll get the chunk of question. In VRC, I have to read the passage and then get the chunk of question. And in maths, there's an opportunity to single question. If anything increment of 5 question is those jump GP. That's what I'm seeing here.
That's right. Yeah. So essentially, what I would want to say, just to summarize the entire thing, is that the journey till 95 percentile is not difficult. Till the time you hit 95 percentile, please don't worry about speed. Please don't worry about doing difficult or all questions. Please identify the right questions to attempt in each of the sections. In verbal, please, when you start a RC passage, if you're confused about the question, don't waste time going back to the passage. Just leave that question, move on to the next one. Okay, and keep only marking those answers which you are reasonably confident of. DILR, your job for 95 percentile is to do 2, maximum 3 sets, assuming you do 4-4-4, which means you have anything about 15 odd minutes per set of data. Ample time to make all the kinds of tables, then do it. Similarly, quant, 10 questions will give you a 95 percentile, which effectively means you have about 3.5 minutes per question. Choose the question which you're 100% sure of solving, and don't worry whether I can do it in 1.5 2 minutes or will it take me 3 minutes. If you are reasonably sure you can solve it, please solve it and mark the answer and move on. Okay. Secondly, a 95 percentile in each of the 3 sections, which means 30, which means about 10 questions in quant, 8 questions in DILR, and about 11 questions in verbal, will give you an aggregate score of 87 marks, which will give you a 97.5 percentile. Okay. That's the second part of the story. And at a 95 percentile in each section and 97.5 overall, you are very, very comfortably placed for multiple calls from large number of IMs.
Correct. Now that some people have reached this level or reaching this particular level want to look at movements like these. I
Yes.
think IIM Calcutta would require something like these, right? These kind of scores.
That's right. See,
Okay.
I am Calcutta for the again. I'm looking at general category candidate without any kind of diversity to be at 99.65 percentile. If you
Okay,
are a
so
male,
what-
if you are a girl, you will be looking at a 99 percentile approximately. Okay,
Correct.
because they
So-
have marks for gender diversity.
So what do we do to get to these higher percentile and get to much higher percentile? For that, I've created certain scenario.
Yeah.
If let's say that for getting like you said, GP, getting that 95 percentile in each of the section, which is something that we said, what 8, 10, 8 and 11. That's I think 10 question. and
11, 8 and 10.
11,
Verbal
8 and
11, verbal 11, DIL are 2 sets or 8 questions, and quant about 10 questions.
Yeah. So if you reach there, and then if you want to jump, then we need to have some heroes. One of the section has to look at heroes. So I created some scenarios. I picked up a 99.9 percentile score in each of the section. You could probably do 99.5 also. Scenario number 1 is I'm a VA hero. So
Right.
rest of the thing I am keeping a 95th percentile, 8 to 10
Right.
question. But I'm banging on the fact that VRC is a hero. That is scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, I'm a DLR hero. Okay, so which means I kept the other two at 95 percentile and this 99.9 percentile. There is I'm a QA hero, which means I kept
Right.
the other at 95 percentile and this at this percentile.
Right.
So that then meant that GP the score here is 106, 108, 117. Getting those percentile, which is 99.25. That journey of getting into this higher percentile requires some heroes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
so there are two ways to look at it, Jijo. One is absolutely this, because most of the students are very good in one section, and not so good in the other two sections. So what you need to do is make sure the section you are very good at, you are able to maximize. That is the section where your behavior has to be different. So in your strong area, you have to make sure you maximize, you get to this 99.9. So effectively you have on one 99.5 plus, the other two 95. You will be around 99 percentile. So while you have written 99.9, I'm saying even if, because Jijo, if you in verbal, what 99.5 is 46.
It'll be 46. So this
if you make it 46, the total will become 100. 100 is going to be 99 percentile exactly. Right?
Correct.
So to my mind, you need to be clear that if the section which I'm good at, I will maximize there, get a 99.5 plus, and in the other two sections, I'll get a 95 odd percentile. Now, some of the students might be extremely good in 2 out of 3. For example, many students are able to do DILR and quant very well. Some are able to do verbal and DILR, but not quant. And the quant, verbal and quant is also a section. So if in 2 sections you are 99 plus, the third section you can afford to be 95%, 90 percentile, not even 95 percentile.
Correct. So if you let's say if you have two section, you hit 99 plus. Let's assume for the sake of argument, let's say that I've got 42 plus I've got 34. So 42 plus 34 makes it 76.
76.
So here, let's say that I'm hitting, let's say something like a 20. So then I still get to 20, 30, 25. Yeah. I still get there. So
close to 99 percentile.
Yeah.
Okay. So important thing is to remember that in your strong area you have to maximize. In your weak area you have to let's say play a little defensive and get to a 95 percentile. And I'm again repeating something which I've repeated probably 10 times. I'm going to say the 11th time. 95 percentile is not an issue in any section. It is 11 in verbal, it is 8 question in DILR, and it is 10 question in quant. Let me take that scenario. What is 96 percentile in each of these sections? Or let's say, Jijo, you have 97 percentile in each of these sections. If you could just highlight that.
So let me pick another color so it'll be visible. So let's take yellow. 36, 28, and 34.
How much is that? If you have a 97 in each of them, your aggregate will be 99 percentile. 36 and 34 is 70, 98. You are at 99 percentile, almost there.
Correct.
Okay. So the idea has to be, if you think you are not what that James Bond in any section, you are not that Bahubali, that superhero in any section, don't worry. In each of these sections,
this will be 12 questions now.
12 questions, yeah.
This
and that will be 10 questions, and that is 12 questions.
12 question, which means from our 11, 8, 10, we made a small increment. So either we make, yeah, you're right. Either we make increment journey in each of these, or make one section
Absolutely.
zero.
So once you reach 99%, 95% in each section, the next call you need to say is, do I have it in me to reach to a 99.5 plus in a section or not? If the answer is yes, then that is what you should do. If the answer is no, just to complete, if the answer is no, I don't think I'm capable of getting a 99.5 plus in any section, then what you do is in each section, look at one extra question, can I get it right? Once you are stabilized there, another one question, can I get it right?
Yeah, if I get one more question, I think I'll jump here. If I get one more question, I'll jump here.
Absolutely.
If I get one more questions, I'll jump that level.
Yeah.
So if I now get the 39 plus 30 plus 38, so that'll be how much? That is
90, 107.
107. I jumped this level. I went to 99.5 range.
Almost there. Okay.
Almost there.
So please identify what kind of person you are. Okay. Based on that, you work. But as I said, irrespective of what you are, the journey till 95 is not a challenge at all. After that, the challenge starts, and either you'll say, okay, one section I'll get 5 extra correct answers, or you say, in each section I'll look at one or two extra and move incrementally. Because you still have 4 months to CAT, and incrementally you can easily move by another 4-5 questions.
So this, so when you say one more question, there are a couple of things I want to say. One more question is that requires some skill set to put in to make that improvement, right? You cannot simply say that magically it's going to improve. You're working towards it. What this actually tell me is that at the end of the day, the thing is about what is your game plan. What is your plan? What is your game? So if you're clear about that game plan, and if you're clear about at least the idea that of that particular plan, and then you work towards it, GP, I think that their life will become cleaner, better. They have a clear direction to move. That's what I think.
That's right. That's right. The game plan is something that you have to be clear about for yourself. Okay, and this is something which is probably you need to work out for yourself. For example, if I look at quant. Let me say quant, you are able to solve 8 or 9 questions during the paper. After the paper, you find that there were 17 questions or 15 questions that you could have solved without looking at the solution. That means you don't have a knowledge gap. It is only that you are wasting time in the paper. But if you find you are only able to solve after the paper also, maybe out of 26 questions of quant, you're able to solve only 10 questions. That means you have a serious knowledge gap. And maybe you need to say, okay, which are the areas which I need to brush up, which I need to improve upon to take my scores up. So you need to identify where is the gap. Same thing, you will need to look at DILR also. Similarly, you will need to look at verbal also. We will do another set of videos and focus on each of the 3 sections, starting with how to analyze each of these sections, because that is one challenge people have. I have done the paper. Now what do I do? Do I check my scores? How do I analyze the paper? So what we'll do is we'll do 3 sections, 3 videos, one on each of the 3 sections on how to analyze and what are the learnings you need to take out of them. And I think that's what we'll do in the subsequent videos. Okay, so great. So thank you, Jijo, for this help and support. And I hope all of you have been able to understand what we're trying to take. Please leave your comments and let us know what are the other areas you want us to be discussing. We will pick those topics up also. Okay, thank you very much from my side and Jijo's side. All the best.